Hello everyone, welcome to Trancey Talk. In this episode, we'll be doing things a little bit different. We'll be talking about how you want to be brainwashed, the different scenarios and methods you'd enjoy being brainwashed through. But before we start, first, I'm glad that you're joining me here, and I hope you enjoy your time in this episode. And the second thing is, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and definitely like this episode. It helps me a lot. And if you want to stay updated with my news and my files and all my content, you should definitely check my Twitter, because this is where I post all my updates and everything. And finally, if you want to listen to my latest content and files and get to check out my latest project, the Mind Melting Experience, then you should definitely head on to my Patreon and check that out. Also, another thing that's completely different is I'm trying something new with my settings and everything, so let me know how my voice sounds and if it sounds alright or if I need to adjust anything. That would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, now that we've got this out of the way, brainwashing. That's something we all definitely love, and I think if we didn't, we wouldn't be here. Awesome, I'm glad that it sounds perfect, and hello Halo, I'm doing well. So yeah, as I was saying, brainwashing. That's pretty much why we're here. For me, whenever, not whenever, but I'd say usually when I think of brainwashing, my head goes towards the classical scenario where you're tied up, maybe tied up to a chair. Thank you, Footlover. I'm glad that you find my voice perfect and mesmerizing. That's definitely what I hope it always sounds like. But yeah, for brainwashing, I'd say I always think of it when it pops into my head. I think of the classic of you being tied up to a chair with maybe a spiral in front of you, or you're wearing a VR headset or something like that, and you might have headphones on that are filled with words and subliminal messages that, well, brainwash you. And it's either that or someone is just behind you, maybe whispering in your ears, talking to you, stuff like that. Having like pleasure, like feeling pleasure in a way that makes it hard for you to resist is something that is not a must when I think of these scenarios, but it definitely adds a little bit of spice to it. So yeah, that's usually the classic way and what I think about whenever I think of brainwashing. But I'd love to hear what you think. What kind of scenario or what kind of method or how do you enjoy being brainwashed? Also, you don't need to limit yourself to something like similar to what I said. There are a million ways to brainwash someone, and I'm sure that you'll be telling me some of those, and I'm going to help you imagine and think of other ways. Foot Lover says, not sure if this is supposed to, but your voice is so relaxing. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying it and enjoying just listening to it. It's whatever you want it to be. Like this, what we're doing right here. At the moment, I'm just talking to you and we're just having a conversation and a discussion. But by all means, if you're feeling nice and relaxed, then I'm definitely happy that you are. And at the end of the day, that's definitely what I want, is for all of you to be enjoying yourself and to be having fun in my streams and in these episodes. So by all means, relax as much as you want. Going back to brainwashing, I think one of the most gentle and enjoyable kinds of brainwashing is just the gentle one, the one where I'm talking to one in just a nice and soft way. I'm coaxing them, if you know the term, just coaxing them into getting brainwashed by me. Like telling them how good it would feel, how they won't have to worry about anything, how they can just relax and they won't have to do or make decisions anymore. That kind of way. That's also one of my favorites, just convincing someone without hypnotizing them that they want to be brainwashed. That's always a great time for me. Halo says, being subdued, it's a good way of doing it. Being seduced, sorry. Yeah, exactly, that's what I was just saying. That's basically another word for it. Seducing someone into being brainwashed. Like hearing me telling you how good it would feel to keep listening to me and enjoying my voice. Something like that. And by the way, just to be safe and to know that, well, since this is a hypnosis podcast, it's gonna have a lot of Trancey language because, you know, Trancey talk. And I will definitely be shifting my tone and my voice to a more hypnotic and more enticing tone, so just making it clear in case you're a first time listener or anything, that is what we do here. So as long as you're okay with that, I'm happy. And if you're not and you are worried or anything, that's totally fine, and you can listen and enjoy yourself. You don't have to participate in anything. So yeah, exactly. Being seduced is a pretty awesome way of doing it. And on the other side of the spectrum, being subdued is a great way of doing it. Like physically overpowering or subduing someone and forcing them to listen to you or forcing them to be brainwashed. Definitely not against their will at the end, it's just a scenario and the fantasy you both consented to, but just physically overpowering a person and forcing them, maybe in a way you pin them down you force them to listen to something, maybe force them to wear a headset, and in that headset you have a file playing that brainwashes them, stuff like that. That's another awesome way of brainwashing. So yeah, there are a lot of different ways to brainwash someone. What other methods do you enjoy, or what's the recent method you got brainwashed by? Mind hacking is also another good one. And thanks, Halo, you're definitely giving me a lot of ideas. I appreciate that. Mind hacking, that for me is basically the hypnovirus, but in a much more general idea. It's also kind of like having someone also tied up. Obviously, I enjoy tying people up, but well, I think you know that if you know me. But yeah, having maybe someone tied up and putting a chip on the back of their neck and connecting that chip to some kind of wire that maybe installs a program in your mind that brainwashes you and, well, makes you conditioned to obey and do as you're told. That's mind hacking for me, or that's how I think of it. Like the whole percentage idea, and maybe experiencing or feeling that there is something loading inside your mind that brainwashes you. That's definitely something that I've done and I enjoy doing. Foot Lover says, random conversation with a roommate and now you're in deep. And Halo says, thanks to your tentacles are a good way of doing it. Also, props on that idea. And Allison says, agree. I like when you don't really know what's happening and then it's like surprised emoji face. Chael Rogers, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. If I am, please correct me, that's totally fine. But they say that made the back of my neck tingle. That's awesome. That's exactly what I'm looking forward to doing to everyone here today. And finally, Footlover says, or a random email not knowing what was going on, but knowing you're completely suggestible. Now that is one of my top favorite things, or top favorite ideas. I love the idea of course after talking and consent as usual, but I love the idea of triggering someone without them knowing. And I actually do have a file that basically does what you said. I have a file that when you listen to, you send me an email, and in that email you told me that you listened to that file, and from there, obviously, I give you a bunch of commands, nothing too serious or nothing too intense, just maybe listen to another file or like a certain post, something random and simple like that. But yeah, that's also another one of my favorite brainwashing techniques. If you didn't guess it by now, I love all kind of brainwashing, so that's always a great time. And it can be tentacles. It can be like, if you've checked my latest files, you'll see I've been going through a tentacle, an old tentacle series that I've had or have done in, when was it? few years back. I think it was 2017 or 18. But yeah, it was a series of tentacle files that end up with you experiencing all the different colors, because it's color coded in a way. These tentacles, each color makes you feel or experience a different effect. So yeah, that's basically one of the brainwashing things. And I think by the end of the episode, I'd also like to get your votes on something. Foot Lover says, right now I kinda feel like I'm being kinda secretly mesmerized right now. Kind of scary. But your voice. Well, I think if you've been listening to my files and my content for a while, I think that it would be normal and natural to feel a pull and to feel my voice getting to you. That's definitely a normal thing, so if you're feeling that way, enjoy it. And Toy Time is my favorite file of yours. I've listened to that about 10 times and I drop so fast now. Well, that's awesome. Toy Time is one of my earliest, but one of my... What's the best way to describe it? I can't say favorite because, well, at the end of the day, I love all my files. But it's definitely a great one for people to enjoy and experience, having no control. So I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And Halo says, can't wait for the yellow. That's your favorite color. Well, I'm definitely gonna be finishing the Tentacles series and the Obedience Training series. However, I'm gonna be posting a poll on the channel, maybe tomorrow or something, to ask everyone if they want me to first continue the Obedience series or the Tentacle series, or maybe have a bit of a break of all of that and post other files. I'm gonna see what you will decide on, because at the end of the day, I'm slowly going through my library of older files on Patreon and I'm releasing them. So I'm glad that you are enjoying these files, and I'm glad to hear that people are actually listening to my files and having favorites. That's awesome to me. Foot Lover says, trying not to fall asleep, but I'm lying down and losing this battle. I love all, actually, especially the complete control and eye induction. Yeah, Sir Knows Best series is also a great one. That was a theme that I enjoyed making files for a good while. Eye induction, I'm honestly not a fan of my video files, like the files I actually appear in. I'm not a fan. I might actually decide to delete these files one day. We'll see. I'm leaving them for now, just because it's fine. But I'm not a huge fan of them. So who knows? Maybe I'll not do it. We'll see. Anyway, back to brainwashing. I think also, like, there are a few fringe or niche brainwashing ideas where you overwhelm someone. The obvious contender for that is to overwhelm someone with pleasure. Like having a vibrator between your leg, feeling some kind of pleasure, maybe just pleasure from hearing my voice or whoever is brainwashing you's voice. That's always a good way to brainwash someone. And especially if you decide that you can't feel the release until you're given permission. So you're just there experiencing this amazing pleasure, but knowing you're not in control to complete it. So yeah, that's I guess you all know that I have a few files that are like that. But on the other hand, there are similar things like that. For example, tickling. If you're ticklish, or if in the file or in that experience the hypnotist makes you feel ticklish, and they start tickling you and relentlessly making you feel sensitive and ticklish everywhere. So when they, for example, tickle your sides or your feet or under your arms, stuff like that, you're so ticklish and you start laughing, and they don't stop until you've admitted that you are now controlled, and from there they start your brainwashing after, I guess, breaking you. That's another one of many brainwashing techniques. And what else? What other ways are there? Foot Lover says, would you ever hack a TV station, start a rapid hypnosis induction, and then move into brainwashing and triggering everyone with consent, of course? Good thing about the consent part. But yeah, that's something. I'm not sure how I would do something like that in a file, but I have a sort of close idea to that I'm working on, and actually it's sort of the next file that I'll be doing, or like one of the next files I'll be doing next month. And yeah, don't worry, we'll talk about that by the end of the episode. I'm gonna announce my plan for August. It's gonna be a fun plan, and I hope you would enjoy it and have fun with all the files and all the content that I bring you. But yeah, that's also that, at least for the time being, hacking a TV station or a radio station or maybe a website, stuff like that. That's also, it falls more into the fantasy base. But yeah, like that can be sort of an immersion story, for example, like making you feel having you on your couch watching TV when suddenly there is some static and the image starts to blur. Then maybe you see this exact logo and like what you're seeing right now, my image and the circle talking, and maybe some words or some flashing stuff around it. And from there, I'd, well, obviously drop you and then start brainwashing you. It can be something like that. Like, if I was doing that, I'd say that's how I'd think of, or that's how I'd be doing it. I'd be going more towards the theatrical and what else? Yeah, sort of theatricals and sort of evil villain or evil word conquer trying to take over the world, stuff like that. That's honestly, at the end of the day, it's just like a trope or something I do because I enjoy it, but it's always a fun way. It's always fun acting like the evil hypnotist trying to take over all your minds and the whole world. Which, by the way, I think I might have done a good job, at least with you over here. I believe I've taken over all your minds. Wouldn't you agree? But yeah, and at the same time, it would be maybe if it's a radio station, you'd start hearing static and like a bit of distorted sounds. I know the sounds of one changing a radio station or something. And then it would turn into hearing my voice, maybe like whispering or talking in a more hypnotic tone. And from there, I'd start brainwashing you, start making you imagine things. And obviously, if that would happen, I'd take over like the whole satellite dishes and everything. So whenever you change a channel or whenever you change a station, it's me talking. So there is no escaping me. But what other ways are there? What other brainwashing ways? And at the same time, what way would you enjoy? What way would you enjoy being brainwashed by tonight? Because at the end of this episode, we'll definitely do a bit of a demo or a bit of a brainwashing experience to have you enjoy what we've been talking about. Because, come on, we wouldn't talk about brainwashing and not brainwash you. I think that would be very rude of me and very unfair to you. Foot Lover says, oh my, actually a good thought. Yeah, it's definitely a good thought. I think another brainwashing technique or another brainwashing scenario would be the reverse psychology, maybe, like something where you tell the person that of course you don't want to be brainwashed, or of course why would you want that, stuff like that, and start making it sound like something they don't want. So in a reverse psychology kind of way, it starts to become something they do want. So yeah, that's another way of going with it. Like, being brainwashed, why would you ever want that? That's weird. Having no control over your own mind or your own thoughts or your own decisions? That's very sus. So yeah, it would be something like that, which would, I believe, definitely, in the end, make you go like, no, I want to be brainwashed. So yeah, I think that's another way of going with it. But Lover says, walking into class, seeing that no one else shows up to class but me and you being the professor, look up and smile, and then you start talking, and all I know is 3 hours later I'm waking up. Yeah, that takes us to a different place, and that's like the setting. Like, I doesn't have to be I'm a hypnotist and you're a subject, I'm brainwashing you. It can be a lot of different scenes and scenarios. For example, as Footlover said, it's the professor hypnotizing or brainwashing the student. It might be you going to a therapist and that therapist taking advantage of you and brainwashing you. It can be something like a vampire, which, by the way, that's the latest file that I did on my Patreon. It's called Seduced by a Stranger, but spoiler alert, the stranger is a vampire. So you get to be brainwashed by a vampire. There is also the mad scientist, which I'm just a mad scientist that captured you and is gonna brainwash you and do all sorts of experiments on you. And there is the classic stage hypnosis show, and volunteered or not, you get hypnotized, and the hypnotist, maybe after the show, triggers you, drops you, and takes you somewhere private and brainwashes you. So yeah, there are a lot of different scenes, scenarios, and stories that would come out of just brainwashing. And that's awesome. That's a great thing, in my opinion. The idea that here we are just talking for half an hour and we came up with all these ideas and all these different scenes and scenarios that, while definitely I personally have done most of them at least, and I'm sure people like other content creators might have made all of them, but it's awesome like talking about these kind of things and these kind of ideas, because they always get the creative juices going, as they say. It gets me to think of more things and more ideas and more content to bring, and at the end of the day, that's what I want and what I enjoy doing, and at the same time, I believe that's what you enjoy and that's why you're here. So that's just perfect for both of us, I'd say. It makes our life a lot more fun, and we can, well, you can take a break of thinking for a while, and I can enjoy doing what I love, and that's creating content and brainwashing you. So yeah, what other scenes? What do you think? What did I miss? What other scenes or scenarios or methods that we didn't talk about? We're just talking about general stuff, but I'm sure like in future episodes, I think I'll be doing more in-depth views and in-depth conversations and discussions about a specific thing, maybe a specific brainwashing scenario, maybe something else. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying this format. I'm enjoying the talking about a specific topic that is not just a topic in hypnosis, but it's a topic that actually brings more ideas and brings content to the table like this one. So I think I'll definitely be doing similar episodes like that. Alison says, well, you didn't miss it, but I'm a huge fan of the mad scientist and experiment stuff. Yeah, that's definitely, I did do a long time ago a mad scientist file. It's still on Patreon, but one day it's definitely gonna come on here on YouTube. But yeah, I remember in that file I went for the classic, you're tied up to a metal table, and I put a helmet over your head. Buzzing noises and sounds are starting to come off from the helmet, and your thoughts are starting to be drained and disappear. Stuff like that. But also, I did not, however, like continue with the experiments. So I'm sure that that's something I should look into, like doing more experiments. Halo says, Bear Maiden spikes your drink and leads you home growling in fun way. Yeah, that's, well, spiking drinks. Yeah, that's a favorite of mine and something I've done a lot recently. But yeah, well, adding some sort of like spiking a drink, chloroform in someone, or like maybe coming from behind someone and covering their mouth with soaked or a chloroform soaked thing that makes them pass out and fall unconscious. So yeah, stuff like that. Or maybe something like another thing that's like how you lure someone into a scenario where you can brainwash them is through a sound trigger. For example, having them hear some sort of music, having them hear something like a Siren's song that lures them in, seduces them to go to a certain area, and in that area they become trapped and become open and susceptible to brainwashing. Or I guess it can also be something like uh, a sound cue. For example, like my favorites are using a bell to trigger you or stop your train of thoughts, or using a metronome that just keeps ticking, and with it, it becomes harder and harder to focus on other things. So yeah, these are some of the ways to lure someone in for a bit of brainwash. Foot Lover says, I like the thought of getting into it with an officer, but little do you know he plans revenge, so you're walking on the sidewalk at night and he jumps out and grabs you, and you look into his eyes and listen to what I believe is his voice. Yeah, that's another way. It's actually some way that I didn't think of. It's like you did something and you didn't know the consequences of doing that. So, for example, the idea of getting into it with an officer and they plan revenge on you, or maybe something more fantasy based, like maybe you're in a market or at a store or something, and by accident, or well, not by accident, you were rude to some old lady or something, but turns out that lady is a witch, or that old man is a wizard, and they plot revenge against you by not spiking your drink, but I'd say maybe by some sort of potion or spell that starts out with you still, like, you're still conscious and you can still think, but they took control over your body, so maybe they're doing something to embarrass you or humiliate you, and by the end they just full on brainwash you and turn you into their servant or into their slave or into whatever. So yeah, that's another idea and another way of going with the brainwashing theme. With the brainwashing theme. Yeah, definitely needed to drink some water after that. But something else I'd say, maybe like another way, or like that same scenario but in a different context, is maybe again it's a mad scientist where you maybe bully or make fun of the nerd, and that nerd somehow maybe he already has a device or created a device that when you put on, maybe it's a headset, maybe it's a bracelet, a ring, whatever, it can be anything. It's just a prop at the end of the day that would be used in that scene or that scenario, where once you have it on, he can activate it, and by activating it, he or she trains out all your resistance and subdue you and turn you into their servant and into their obedient slave. So yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. I think I might do that in the future. And honestly, all the ideas we've been talking about, I'm positive I'll be doing maybe 1 or 2 of these ideas sometime soon. But I believe we're getting closer to actually, well, I'd say you're already brainwashed, but to just actually doing that at the moment. Are you excited to be brainwashed? I have a feeling you are. Foot Lover says, I personally have a foot fetish, so I imagine sitting down watching TV and my friends sit and my eyesight props his feet up, swaying them before long the feet capture my full attention. I think with your name we definitely got that you have a foot fetish, and yeah, I can see that for you would be pretty cool and you'd enjoy it. I'm not much of a foot person, but of course you thinking or imagining that, I can imagine how effective it would be for you. So yeah, that's awesome. But the question now, that's pretty important question, is how to brainwash you. Kiki, hey, how are you? It's been a while. Kiki says, have you thought about hypnotizing someone live or pre-recorded for your YouTube channel? Yeah, I actually thought about it. I've just been busy with a lot of stuff that I'm just focusing on content now and creating content and all that. Especially my new project has definitely been taking a huge chunk of my time. But yeah, I've definitely thought about doing like a sort of series where I go through mostly the basics of hypnosis, where I hypnotize a subject and demonstrate something, maybe an induction, maybe a trigger like freezing them, maybe something like fractionation, stuff like that, just demonstrating it. So it's kind of educational and kind of fun watching someone getting hypnotized like that. So that's something that I've been wanting to do and thinking of, but unfortunately recently my new project and just personal life has been a bit hectic and busy, so it hasn't been easy to do that. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to things calming down a bit and making it easier to do that. Kiki says, okay, just got back from a 3-day BDSM convention and happy you're on, so yes. By the way, I'd be happy to be hypnotized for you. I've been collaboration with other artists for their channels. Yeah, that's awesome. I believe I saw a couple of them, and that's great. Yeah, I'm sure hopefully we'll get the chance to do that, and we'll get the chance to do collab soon where we can actually do that series. So once things calm down a bit and once I'm able to focus on that more, I'm positive that we can do that sort of collaboration. So I think now is a great time to brainwash you. What do you think? Do you want to be brainwashed? Kiki says, it's a busy summer. I agree, it is busy. Yeah, I agree as well. It's a very busy summer. And Kiki says yes. So I guess I'll be brainwashing you. And as always, for everyone listening, I'll be doing a little bit of hypnosis now. So you're welcome to join in and participate. And at the same time, if you don't want to participate, you're more than welcome to just hang around and enjoy what's going on. But yeah, I think it's time to start brainwashing you. I actually believe that I've already done that. I don't really need to start from scratch. You're already quite conditioned and quite familiar with my voice, with my words, and with what I do, with everything I do. So, doesn't really take long, doesn't really take much for you to drop down, drop deep, fall and sink, fall deep and sink further down. Get lost in my words and voice. Get lost in what I say. Feel in my words, feel in my voice. Getting rid of all your thoughts. Feel in yourself over there. Listening and obeying everything I say. Feeling happy, feeling excited and happy to do so. Feeling so excited to be brainwashed. Because in a moment I will wake you up. I will wake you up as you feel yourself back to normal. You feel yourself back to normal. However, the truth is, you are brainwashed. Because whenever I start a sentence with "would you kindly," you'll find yourself obeying whatever I tell you. You'll find yourself doing as I say, and you'll be conscious and aware of what you're doing. However, you can't stop yourself. Do you understand? you will be brainwashed and aware of what you're doing, but you'll be unable to stop yourself. Loving how helpless that makes you feel. Loving how powerless that makes you feel. Enjoying the fact that you are brainwashed. So now I'll count from 1 to 5. When I reach the number 5, you'll wake up. You'll wake up feeling amazing, feeling so good, so excited and happy. You'll find yourself back to normal. You'll just believe that I dropped you, but I didn't brainwash you. That's until I start the sentence with "would you kindly" and give you a command that you'll obey without thinking. You'll be aware of what you're doing, but you won't be able to stop yourself. So, 1. Starting to wake up, feeling good and relaxed. 2. Feeling refreshed and energized. 3. Waking up more and more, following all I tell you. And 4. Brainwashed, but not knowing it until I start the sentence with "would you kindly." And 5. Wide awake. So, hope you've enjoyed that. Hope you've enjoyed how I just dropped you and brainwashed you. Yeah, you're brainwashed now. What do you think of that? You are completely under my control and spell. Yeah, it definitely feels great. It always feels great to be hypnotized and brainwashed, don't you think? And Foot Lover said, I definitely understand. I recently tested positive for COVID and other personal issues, family as well. Thank God I don't have symptoms, but I've been quarantined. And I hope you're doing alright. I hope you're safe and well rested, and it's good that you don't have symptoms. But stay safe and take your medicine. And yes, you are. You are brainwashed. You don't believe it? I have a feeling you don't believe it. Yeah, something did happen. Here, let me try something. Would you kindly write in chat, I am brainwashed? Yeah. Halo says, it's possible you made us forget, so I wouldn't put it past you. Yeah. I made you forget, and now you remember. You are brainwashed, as you just experienced and thought. You are brainwashed. Yeah, would you kindly say we are brainwashed? No, Kiki, you're brainwashed. I've brainwashed you. I've brainwashed you all, as you can see. And you can obviously see that you're all brainwashed and you're all loving it. Now do you believe me, Kiki? Do you all believe me? Do you all believe that I brainwashed you? I have a feeling that you do. I have a feeling that by now you believe me. Especially when I say, would you kindly tell me how much you love being brainwashed? No, Kiki, you're brainwashed. I'm just kind enough to allow you to, well, still be aware. I'm kind enough to allow all of you to still be aware of what's happening. However, as you might have figured by now, you cannot stop yourself whenever I say, would you kindly? You're welcome to try, but do you really want to fight and resist how much you love being brainwashed? I don't think so. Would you kindly tell me how deeply brainwashed you want me to make you feel? How much you want my words and voice to condition you and to affect you? Yeah, you can see that I have got inside your head big time. And I can see that you're loving it. And that's perfect. You are doing a wonderful job. And I know that you all will drop now. Just closing your eyes and focusing on my voice. Focusing on my voice and words as I brainwash you. As I brainwash you and drop you even deeper, even further and deeper now. Finding my words so hypnotic and enticing, so easy to get lost, so easy to fall deeper and get lost in them, so easy for them to affect you, to make you feel so good, so happy, and to brainwash you. And you love that. You love that, don't you? You love the effect they have over you. Isn't that right? You want to have my voice make you feel this good, and to be so enticing and hypnotic even when you're awake. Isn't that right? You want my voice to brainwash you. You want me to brainwash you and make my voice unbelievably hypnotic even when you're awake. I know you already feel that way, but you want more. You want it to be even more effective and hypnotic. Isn't that right? You can open your eyes, still in a deep trance, but would you kindly tell me how hypnotic and captivating you want my voice to be to you? Feeling so good, so wonderful and amazing whenever you do as I tell you. Loving the fact that I am brainwashing you. You're doing so well. You're doing an excellent job. You're just good, brainwashed pets, and you'll find that until this episode is done, you will feel so submissive and obedient to me. You'll be so excited and enthusiastic about everything I say, fangirling about whatever I say, like the good, brainwashed pets you are. So, in a moment, I'll wake you up. I'll wake you all up. You'll be awake and alert, but still feeling submissive, still feeling obedient, knowing that I control you, and loving that, loving everything I say, excited about everything I tell you, and fangirling about everything. Once this episode is done, you will fully wake up, return to normal, feeling amazing and good. And you're welcome to comment and tell me how it felt from now until the end of the episode, as I start waking you up now. 1. Starting to wake up, still feeling relaxed. 2. Feeling refreshed and energized. 3. Loving each and everything I say. Excited and fangirling about whatever I tell you. And 4. Until this episode is done, you will know that I control you, feeling like the good, obedient, brainwashed pets you are. And 5. Waking up now. Hello. I hope you've enjoyed that, my obedient little pets. I hope you had a wonderful time. I'm sure you all loved what I just did to you. Isn't that right? I have a feeling it is. I have a feeling you've loved everything that just happened right now. Let me read to you what you wanted me to brainwash you to experience. Foot Lover said, I love being brainwashed so much. I want to be so deeply brainwashed. I want your voice to take over completely. What do you think? Did that happen, Foot Lover? I think it did. Halo said, I love being brainwashed so much. I want to go so deeply under your control there is nothing left. I have a feeling I did that. And Kiki said, I want to be greatly captivated and hypnotized by you. Love being brainwashed so much. I want to let go deeply under your control until there is nothing left. What do you think? I have a feeling that you all experienced that. Don't you agree? I'd say that you did. You've all been very good pets, and I'm so proud of you. You've done a wonderful job letting me brainwash you and get inside your head deeply. So, would you kindly clap for yourselves? You deserve a round of applause for what you did and how good you were. But now it's time for me, before I leave, to announce my plans for next month. Well, Halo claps. Yeah, you definitely deserve it here. I'll give you a clap myself. See? Kiki says, kinda feel like a fangasm on this. Well, any kind of gasm I'd say is good, and fangasm is one of the best. But yeah, I think it's time to tell you my plans for August. And by the way, they're pretty exciting plans. So, first off, we have the files. This month, or well, next month, depending on where you live, I'll be making 2 new files. And they're completely different from one another. The first one's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple, and here's the catch, brainwashing file. It'll mostly focus on scenarios where you're tied up and someone slips headphones on your head. It's gonna be one of these files where sound overlaps and my words are coming at you from everywhere, from your left ear, right ear, both your ears, or all overlapping and brainwashing you. The second file, however, is probably gonna be the start of a series in a way. It's more of a theme-based file. It's called, well, I'm not sure about the title yet. It's either gonna be called Hotline Hypnosis or Hypnosis Hotline. And, well, it's basically what I just said. It's like a telephone service you call, and you get to choose the kind of hypnosis you want. It's gonna be like dial press 3 to be fractionated, press 4 to be tied up, stuff like that. It's basically a like sex phone service or a like customer care kind of service, but it's hypnosis. So the first file is gonna be, since you're a new client and all, it's gonna be a sort of induction that gets you introduced to the word of hotline hypnosis or hypnosis hotline. Definitely help me out with the name and tell me which one you'd like better, hotline hypnosis or hypnosis hotline. That's for my files. Kiki says, sounds like a braingasm. Funds. Yeah, that brainwashing file's gonna be pretty much a braingasm. I plan to make it super intense and like just voices coming at you from everywhere. Not extremely intense, but it's like overwhelming in a good way. And Kiki also says, like, choose your own brain adventure. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going for. And to be honest, like that series will probably feature in a number of places. Like I'll probably make files out of it, and I might also add it, or in the future turn it into a mind-melting experience. Which brings us to what I plan to do with the mind-melting experience for this month. excuse me. And if you don't know what the mind melting experience is, it's my latest project. It's basically an interactive hypnosis experience. So currently I have one experience that I've done. It's a bit of a classic. It's the hypnosis show. It's the classic hypnosis show, and you're just in a tent, and I'm the hypnotist. And you get to choose what you do. You get to choose if you want to volunteer and get hypnotized as one of the volunteers. If you don't want to volunteer, but you get hypnotized in the audience, do you want to get up and volunteer? If the hypnotist comes to you and tells you whether you want to step up and join the volunteers or not. It's a lot of different choices you make, and these choices affect what happens in the story. It's still the first version, so that's what I'll be doing throughout next month. I'll be going through that. Going through that experience and improving on it a little bit, as well as adding a few more parts in it a little bit more to, well, improve it and make it more immersive and make it more hypnotic and more enjoyable, hopefully. So that's what I'll be doing. Plus, I do want to focus a little bit on the design and like the technical part of that story as well, so it becomes mobile friendly and people enjoy it everywhere, because that will make my life so much easier moving forward with more experiences. But yeah, that's it for the files and for the mind melting experience. But I think also for Trancey talk next month, for Trancey talk next month, I think I'll do something similar to this. Like I'll have a poll set on my Patreon where you get to choose other brainwashing scenarios or other. I'll try to make it more specific, I think. I think when it becomes more specific, it makes it easier for me and for you to think of ideas and for us to come up with what we want to do and how the episode would go. So yeah, I'll be setting up a poll for next month, and also I'm not sure if next month it's gonna be on a Saturday. I might have some personal things to do by the end of the month, but that's still a month away, so I'll let you know. Anyway, last thing before I go is, in case you have not yet subscribed to the channel, then you should definitely go and do that now. And I'll do the classic, like, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on notifications. But also, if you want to stay up to date and know all my updates and everything I'm planning on doing, then you should definitely check out my Twitter and follow me there. Finally, if you want to check out all the content that I just talked about and want to experience the mind melting experience and so much more, then you should definitely check out my Patreon and have fun with that. Now it's time for me to tell you all goodbye. And you all know that once this episode is done, you'll return back to normal completely, and your more than welcome to comment and tell me how it felt to be brainwashed. So yeah. Goodbye everyone. I hope you had a wonderful time and see you on the next episode of Trancey Talk.